Hello everyone, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, welcome to Academic English Help's channel. Hi Daljit, hello everyone who's joining in at the moment. Just as we get going here, I first want to do the usual audio video check, make sure that everybody can hear me and see me okay. So for those of you joining in, hi Vandana, nice to see you jumping into class. Hi Shiji. Can you see the board behind me okay? Can you hear my voice okay? Hi Mohammed. Awesome. Sounds all good. All right. Excellent. So today, last day of the month, tomorrow, start of June. Getting into summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Focusing on IELTS listening today. This is coming from our Test 6 or Exam 6. We're going to be looking at Parts 1 and 2. As usual, these materials are coming from our websites at aehelp.com and gieltshelp.com. So for academic IELTS, please do check us out at aehelp.com so that you don't have to keep paying $300 to do the IELTS exam. You can just do it just once and pass. If you're going for general IELTS, go for gieltshelp.com and check us out there for general IELTS materials. Of course, the listening is the same for both general IELTS and academic IELTS, so you'll find the same listening examples on both sites. Again, thank you to our sponsors. So those students who are sponsoring our YouTube channel, thank you very much. That's great. We love you for it. There's a couple of them jumping in right now. Hi Baljit, hi Arcana. Again, those students who sponsor us, make sure you send us that email so we can hook you up with all of our 6 full exam books and all the audio materials. If you have them already, make sure you have them in front of you for these live classes so you can follow along even more effectively. On our websites, we have lots and lots of videos. We have a fully interactive course. We teach you all the tips and strategies for scoring high bands on the IELTS. We don't teach you strategies that we don't use ourselves. Everything that we teach you is proven in education psychology, so not just made up strategies like some other things out there online. If you're interested in doing an IELTS speaking practice interview, do contact me through my email at adrian@aehelp.com and we can set that up on Skype or WhatsApp. It is a paid service, so ask me about details. Writing and editing help is also available. Okay, enough of the sales pitch jargon and the salutations, icebreakers, and so on. Yes, Baljit, the interview is $25 US for a 30-minute interview that includes feedback, correction, a follow-up email. Tells you about your weaknesses and strengths. Okay. For the sponsors that are joining in, I scheduled a sponsors-only chat for this Saturday at 3 p.m. That's 15 o'clock Central European Time, where we will focus on how to write an effective Task 1 for academic IELTS for MAPS. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a MAPS example. So for the sponsors who are watching, make sure you mark that in your calendar so you can jump in on that class, all right? Thinking about you, Baljit, and Vandana, and a couple other sponsors I saw there. All right. Let's take a peek at the listening. So this is, again, Test 6. It's listening section 1 that we're going to be starting with here. Everybody please have a piece of paper and a pencil in front of you. We will do the listening very shortly here. I would like to ask everybody not to answer in the chat. Wait until the end of the listening. We'll go through the answers together. Please give everybody a fair chance to listen for the answers, so just wait until the end. Okay? Is everybody ready to do this listening? Again, the listening section of IELTS is made up of 4 parts. The first one is the easiest. It's just some very common everyday type of conversation, registering for school or a sports league or something simple like that, all right? So for section 1 of the listening, your goal should be to get 9, 10 out of 10, okay? Because the next sections will get more and more difficult, and that's usually where students lose more marks, especially section 3 and section 4. For section 1, make sure that you pay attention to your spelling, your capitalization, okay? Make sure you pay attention to the instructions of the questions, okay? All right, looks like everybody's ready to go, so we'll access our academic website here. So this is what our academic website looks like for IELTS. General IELTS is a green background like that. So academic, you log in at the top there with your username and password, or your email and password. And of course, because this is test 6, it will be CD6. And because it is listening section 1, it'll be track number 1. Just check my audio volume there. Okay, looks good. All right. So again, please don't write your answers into the chat. Wait until the end. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1.
This recording is copyrighted by 2Think1 Solutions Inc. and World ESL Tutors. You will hear several different recordings, and you will answer questions on what you hear. There will be time given to read the instructions and questions, and you will be given a chance to check your work. The recordings will be played only once. The test is made up of 4 sections. At the end of the test, you will have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Now turn to section 1. Listening section 1. You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman concerning the requirements of running for municipal office. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You will see that there is an example. This time only, the conversation relating to this question will be played.
Good morning. You've reached the Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is Florence speaking.
Good morning, Florence. My name is Walter, and I'd like some information on running for municipal office in the upcoming election.
You're in the right place. The first piece of information I'll need from you is the specific office you'd like to run for.
Town Councillor, I'd imagine.
The man says he would like to run for Town Councillor, so this has been indicated for you. Now we begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning. You've reached the Information Office for Municipal Affairs. This is Florence speaking.
Good morning, Florence. My name is Walter, and I'd like some information on running for municipal office in the upcoming election.
You're in the right place. The first piece of information I'll need from you is the specific office you'd like to run for.
Town Councillor, I'd imagine.
Great. I need some information from you in order to get you on the ballot in September. Are you ready to get started?
Yes, I'm ready.
This should only take a few minutes. Okay then, let's start with your surname, Walter.
Colchester. Colchester.
And Walter is spelt in the regular fashion?
Yes, Walter.
Okay, next I need your date of birth.
I was born the 11th of December, 1979.
The 11th of December 1979 makes you 36 years old at the time of the September elections. Is this correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Great. I'll need your national insurance number.
My national insurance number is WC 285-69833.
WC 285-69833.
That's right.
Great. And the last pieces of information I need from you are your current address and phone number.
I live at 23 Shaftebury Lane, Plymouth, and you can reach me on 01752 667 835.
Wonderful. Next, I'll give you some information on running for municipal office.
You now have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 6 to 10.
First of all, you should know that you're one of 15 candidates so far that have registered for the 4 Town Councillor positions. Since the deadline for registration is in a week, I do not anticipate this number increasing by more than a candidate or 2. Second, please know that there are 3 all-candidate debates, of which you must attend 2 in order to qualify for office.
I have to participate in debates.
Yes, that's right. They are on the 14th and 28th of August, and the final one is held on the 4th of September. They'll be held at the local community hall on Ashford Street. Each one begins at 6 o'clock in the evening.
That sounds fine. Is there anything else I need to know?
Yes, there is. Do you plan on spending money on your campaign? This could be on adverts in newspapers, promotional signage, or other advertising.
Well, I was planning on taking an ad out in the local paper, yes.
Not a problem, but please keep in mind that there is a strict £2,000 limit on campaign spending for town councillors. All expenses must be reported to this office. Overspending will result in disqualification.
I don't think that should be a problem.
Oh, and one more thing, Mr. Colchester. There is a £50 registration fee for each candidate for town councillor. You may pay this fee over the phone by credit card, with a cheque in the post, or in person with cash, credit or debit. How would you like to pay?
I live right by the office, so I'll drop by this afternoon to pay in person.
My assistant will take care of that for you. I think that is all I need from my end. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome, and good luck.
That is the end of section 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, and then you have half a minute to check your answers. And that's what you should do in that half a minute. You shouldn't go to the next section. Make sure you check for spelling mistakes. Make sure you check the question instructions. So the common place is to lose those easy marks. All right. So, again, girls and guys, please, when the audio is going, don't give your answers so that you give other students a fair chance to give answers. If you do give answers, then I have to block those answers out because that's just not fair to the other 100 students watching at the same time. All right. So let's go through the answers together. Again, a lot of different kind of dictation answers where they're spelling names, dictating phone numbers, addresses, and so on. Now, I just did something kind of interesting there for you, where basically you saw me go to section 2 a couple of times when the example was going and when you had time to review some of those questions. This is actually a strategy that I'm always telling students to practice, where in the instruction time and in the review time in section 1, if you have a chance, try to look at the questions, at least the titles for section 2, 3, and 4, okay? Sometimes the examiners are very strict and they'll say, don't turn the page, you have to just look at section 1. But I know that in many cases, they don't really care too much about that. There's no special instructions that say you can't look at section 2 or 3 headings. And because those are the more difficult sections, if you look at those topics and at least your brain starts to work a little bit on those words and those ideas, it can really help you to catch a few extra marks when you actually get to section 2, 3, and 4, okay? So I'll make a special note of that in this class. I haven't done that before, and that is a strategy. The worst case scenario is your examiner is going to come over to you or your proctor, and they'll say, please don't turn the page, please stay on listening section 1, but it's worth a try, okay? So if you have good listening skills, try to have a look at the headings or topics of section 2, 3, and 4, while section 1 review and example are given, okay? Worst case scenario means situation, the proctor will ask you not to turn the page. okay? But it is worth a try because you can pick up some extra points if you give yourself a little bit of a chance to look at those first, okay? So definitely worth a shot. Okay, especially section 4, you don't even have a break between the listening, so it's just one continuous listening, and it can be very fast. Sometimes students lose marks in section 3 and 4, not because they don't understand it so much, because it's moving so quickly that they can't catch all the information. So this is kind of a good strategy to help you with that. It's not really cheating, but it's kind of bending the rules, let's say that, okay? Try that and see if it works for you, all right? Okay, let's go back here and answer these questions. So here, a person is trying to apply for political office or applying for political office, and they're registering with this administrator. You had to fill out this form. You probably noticed that the answers didn't come exactly in the order of the questions. In most situations, they will. So in most situations, the answers will come in the same order. But sometimes when you get a form-style question like this, you might find that one or two of the answers don't come in the same order. So you have to be a little bit patient and focus on the right question. Okay, so number 1, Sonu Aisha is saying Colchester, and your spelling is correct as well. Colchester, like that. Of course, that has to be a big C because it's a name, so it's a proper noun. It's a surname. If you write a small c there, then it will be wrong. And as I've said many times before, you can write all capitals. Just make sure that you have good spacing in your answer sheet and you don't make spelling mistakes. Okay? So these would be both correct. Okay? All right. Number 2, where does this person live? Uh, 23, Shaftebury Lane. Everybody got 23? Okay, yeah, so good, 23. Looks like there's quite a unanimous agreement there. Just write 2, 3. Please don't write words, okay? So don't write 23 like that. Okay, too many chances for spelling mistakes. Don't lose silly marks. Numbers are fine. Even for 1 or 0 to 10, it's okay to write numbers. In your writing task 2, you should use words when you're writing numbers 0 to 10. But in your listening and reading and in your task 1 writing, using numbers or numerics is absolutely okay. What's the date of birth for this person? When are they born? They give that a little bit later on, so these 2 answers come a little bit later on. You have to be more patient. Arcana, I definitely recommend being very careful with that just because the order of the days and the months are different between British and American English. So it's better to write December, okay? So the easiest is 11 December 1979, okay? That is the most simple answer. 11 Des 1979, all right? That's going to be your easiest answer. You don't have to write the full word December because if you make a spelling mistake, it will be wrong. Bogadi, Sravia, that's an okay answer as well, all right? Lytton, that's the simplest answer. That's the one to go with, all right? It takes, also, of course, you don't want to spend time writing, right? So if you can save time so you can focus on the listening more, then you don't want to write the full word. So no abbreviations for months of the year and days of the week, okay? That's really good to know for part 1, all right? I'll give you that as a little bit of a tip here as well, all right? So know the abbreviations for days of the week and months of the year, okay? That's definitely a good piece of knowledge. You can maybe save a few marks there. All right, so let's pop back in here. Number 4, phone number. Anybody catch the phone number of this gentleman? What do we want to dial if we want to call Mr. Walter Colchester? All right, 0175. It's nice and long. I remember when I was a young guy, phone numbers used to be 7 digits, especially local. But there's definitely a lot more of us in the world today. 266, 78, and 35. Okay, that looks like it's the most common or popular answer, so it's probably the right one. All right. Hopefully you got that phone number. I hope that you guys aren't mixing that up with his national insurance number. All right. Make sure you know which one's the phone number, which one's the national insurance number. Okay, what was his national insurance number? The last one, number 5. Anybody? There's some good answers there. I'll just, there we go. Okay, so WC2856, yeah. 2856, 9833 is good. Yeah, when you're listening to these dictations, the letters and numbers that you want to be really careful for are things like D, B, P, okay? So those are the ones that are most easily confused, especially with the British accent. So make sure that you pay attention to those tricky ones like P and B and D, okay? V. All right, so if you got those, Colchester 23/11 December 1979, and these numbers, then you should be off to a good start. Again, you don't want to lose these easy marks. These could be the difference between a 7, 7.5, or an 8, 8.5. Remember, with those high IELTS bands, it's just a 1 or 2 mark difference, okay? They get very tight, very close with those marks. Okay. Let's jump to this next little table completion here. So the woman says, hey, if you want to run for town councillor, you have to participate in some debates. Debate is an educational or academic argument. We had that in the reading yesterday. Okay, what is the date of the debate? Number 6. Okay, it's 4th of September. Bugatti, very nice. That's a great way to do it. So, sept, like that, 4 September, or September 4th. If you reverse that, that's okay as well, all right? If you write it, Garvey, with a small s, it will be wrong, okay? The s has to be big, so it has to be like this. If you write it like this, okay, this will be wrong. Months of the year and days of the week are proper nouns in English, so they take capital letters. You need to know that. If you write a small s for September or a small t for Tuesday, you will get it wrong, okay? So careful about that. All right. What time? I think I had a couple of people there. 6 p.m., yeah. 6 p.m., 18 o'clock is okay as well. 6 p.m. is the easiest answer. PM is very important because it's in the evening. You need to specify that, all right? So if you got those 2 answers, great. Give yourself another couple of points. Make sure you keep your points because tomorrow we'll do sections 3 and 4 and you can check what your overall band score would be. Question 8 to 9, no more than 2 words. Pay attention to that. What is the campaign spending limit? Anybody? Okay, Dependra and Jeffrey say 2,000. Aisha says 2,000. Very good. Make sure, of course, that you do not include the word pounds or the symbol because it is given for you. If you include the word or the symbol pounds, they can mark it wrong because it's already given and you don't want to double up on that. They're checking to see, hey, is this student paying attention? Do they recognize that we gave them that symbol? All right, and how much is the registration fee? So how much does it cost to register? £50, and again, it's given, okay? 15 would be too cheap, so if you misheard 15, I saw that Onkar and Shiji said 15. £15 is not a lot of money these days in the Western world, so there's probably not many things that you could register for that cheap of an amount of money, certainly not a political position. So £50 is a much more realistic number. So careful the difference between 50 and 15, okay? If you think it's teen, then listen for that long teen. No pounds here as well. It's given in both places, okay? When pounds is given for you, please only put the number, okay? Do not put the symbol. All right, so if you got those two, again, you're rocking and rolling. You have at least 9 out of 10. You want at least 9 out of 10 for section 1 because it is the easiest section and it's not the section to be losing marks. Choose 3 letters, A to F. You have to get all 3 of them correct. Order doesn't matter, but it's one question. It needs all 3 of the correct choices to get the mark. If you make a mistake with even one, then you lose that mark. So what are the 3 ways of paying this registration fee that's mentioned in the recording? Can anybody tell me? Baljit says that it's E, B, and A. Somebody says B and C. Aisha said it's A, C, and D. Check by post, I believe, was 1. Credit over the phone, I believe, was 1. Or, what was it? Credit over the phone, credit in person, cash by post, check by post, check over the phone. I don't think so. So that one doesn't make sense. I can't remember them. You would never send cash by post. That's just a bad idea. Credit in person is probably the other one, I think. Okay, so for me, B, C, and E make the most sense. But let's see at the end. It could be A, C, and E. Okay, maybe. All right, so anyway, I'm going to go with B, C, and E here. That makes the most logical sense for me. If I make a mistake on this one, I don't worry about it. If I got 9 out of 10, I'm happy with that. These make logical sense if I didn't catch it, okay? And we'll check the answers at the end when we're done with section 2. All right, let's have a look at that section 2 right now. So this is the section that I tried to get you to take a peek at. Before I look at that, can anybody tell me what section 2 is about? What is section 2 about? Anybody? What is section 2 about? Hey, I think somebody just signed up for sponsorship. That's what YouTube's telling me, so thank you for that. If you're that new sponsor, make sure to send me an email so I can give you access to all of our exams and audio materials. So what is section 2 about, guys? That's why I kind of did that little trick where I looked at that so that hopefully some of you read that, okay? You weren't going, hey, Adrian lost his mind. He's looking at section 2 when we're listening to section 1. That wasn't a mistake. I did that on purpose. I wanted you to read that, okay? So what is section 2 about? It's not really a monologue. I don't think it is. Baljit says it's something to do with investors. Very good, Baljit. You were paying good attention, and that's why it's now in your head going, hey, it's something about investors. There's a salary discussion. Very good, Sonu. Financial matters among the workers, Aisha. Very good. Smart. Good job, girls and guys, paying attention to that when I gave you a little bit of that sneak peek. That will help you, okay? That will help you in the real IELTS. If you can have a little bit of a peek at section 2, 3, or 4 during that easier part of section 1, during all that instruction time, you're going to give yourself a good chance to pick up some extra marks. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Yeah, it's who pays the salaries of the workers. You should have probably read that. Here you have a table, current year, change from previous years, sales, downloads. So it's some kind of a financial discussion. Okay, girls and guys, let's do listening section 2 now together. Have your pencil and paper ready. Again, please, please, please do not write answers into the chat. Please wait until the end. Give everybody a fair chance. I don't want to have to block your communication. So just hold up, wait till the end. Is everybody ready? With their pencils and pens? Okay, good. All right, girls and guys. So here we go.
Now turn to section 2. Take some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Listening section 2. You will hear a recording of 3 people discussing strategy for an upcoming meeting with investors. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now listen carefully to the interview and answer questions 11 to 16.
Thank you both for coming in for this preparatory meeting. As you know, we have an extremely important meeting with our investors next week. While I'm more than confident in the work we have done over the past year, we must be prepared to justify our progress to our investors. After all, they are the ones who pay our salaries. First, I want to review the positive outcomes we've achieved over the past year. This will make up the bulk of our presentation. Amy, would you like to give us a rundown on this front?
Sure. We've achieved many positive outcomes over the past year, and furthermore, we've achieved more in the past 4 months than in the previous 8 months. So we're certainly showing significant progress. First, and most important, sales of our app are up 50% from last year, totaling 586,000 units in the past 12 months, up from 390,000 units in the previous year. This is great progress. Second, we're achieving a higher purchase rate. While our sales are up 50%, the number of total downloads has remained relatively constant. This means our conversion rate has increased 50% as well. This clearly demonstrates that our efforts in this area have been fruitful. By targeting the conversion rate instead of the raw download rate, we have raised our standing and search result priority within the application stores. This will eventually lead to a higher download rate and even more sales. The upward trajectory here is very clear. We have also decreased the complaint rate from 2.5% to 1.5%. While our goal is to get this rate as close to 0 as possible, this decrease represents a positive outcome and shows that our efforts to increase customer satisfaction have been successful.
Yes, but if I may interrupt, I actually have to disagree on one point. I don't believe it should be a goal to get the complaints rate down to 0. While we certainly don't want a high complaint rate, the resources spent on getting the complaint rate down are better spent on increasing downloads and increasing the conversion rate. I think this is an important point to be made to the investors. While we certainly value the quality of our product, we are much more focused on maximising the value of the investor's investment. I think such a tack will go over well with the investors.
You now have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the interview and answer questions 17 to 20.
That's a great point. We really want to emphasize that we are doing everything we can to optimize and maximize the money and resources we've been supplied with. Speaking of which, are we all agreed that we will be asking for 20% increase in operating budget?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. And how are you going to justify such an increase?
Well, certainly by pointing to the statistical outcomes you previously referenced, but also by our need to expand. We need to increase our catalogue of apps, and to do this, we will need to hire at least 2 additional developers. In addition to this, I think we are now at the point in our business where hiring a market analyst would be justified. Such a person could be charged with finding niches to exploit within the market. Right now, our operations in this regard are rudimentary at best, and an expert in the field could help increase our sales volume significantly. Such an expert salary might take up 5% of our operating budget, but could lead to a 10% increase in sales or more. The 5% difference would result in a net income increase of almost £100,000.
I agree. Hiring a market analyst is long overdue. One more justification for a budget increase is an across-the-board pay rise, if only at the rate of inflation. 2%, say. This would go a long way to increasing worker morale and output quality. In addition to this...
That is the end of section 2. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
All right, girls and guys, so that is section 2, clearly more difficult than section 1. This type of a topic could very easily be on the IELTS exam. Of course, if you're doing IELTS to work or study or move to another country, you could easily find yourself in a situation where you're in a meeting with other people discussing finance and budget for a company. You could be doing that in school if you're a business major. So don't be surprised if something like this comes along in your next exam. All right, so let's go through the answers together. A couple of little key tips and strategies as we do that. Let's have a look at question 11 first. So it's write no more than 2 words and or a number. Who pays the salaries of the workers in the recording? Here, logic can really help you to figure that out. Nimco, you want to turn up the volume on your end next time because I got it maxed out on my end. I'm using a speaker, or if you have our course, then you can use it. Investors. All right, yeah, investors is a good one. Make sure you spell it correctly, and it has to have the S on the end. Investors. Okay, it's plural, so you must have that S, otherwise you'll get it wrong. You can have it with a capital here, it's fine. You can have it with a small I, it's okay, it's a common noun. It's just a single answer. So all capitals or a capital I or a small I, all will work. Just make sure you have an S on the end. Rawan, if you say the investors, that's okay as well. You'll get the point for that in this case, okay? The investors or simply investors, all right? Okay, again, even if you didn't catch it, you were spacing out for some reason, then you can still guess this answer. There are no negative answers in IELTS, so, or negative points, so be careful not to leave any blanks. Okay, so this was kind of interesting. You have a table. They're discussing sales, downloads, conversions, complaint rates. Just a quick question here to everybody who's following this. What kind of a company do you think this is? So what kind of a company is having this finance discussion here, in your opinion, by listening to this information or this conversation? It's probably a very common type of company these days for many people. Anybody? This was a number, by the way. So what kind of a company? They didn't talk about it, but what do you guess? What kind of a company is this? It should, you know, it should kind of, maybe marketing, but think about conversion, complaint rate, downloads, sales. So when you look at these 4 points, that should give you an idea of what kind of a company. Yeah, Naitik, it's some kind of an information technology company. Absolutely, I agree with you. Some kind of a software company. Rowan, that's a good guess. Some kind of an app company. Lytton, you're right. It's some kind of an IT company. Absolutely. Okay, this was a number, girls and guys. Anybody get number 12? Downloads has to do with a computer, right? So that's one of the big hints there. So it's IT, software, some kind of an app development. Okay, number 12. Anybody get that number? There you go, Naitik. That's always a little bit of a bonus. 3 year? Last year, no, because this has changed from previous year, up 50%. This is current year. I believe it was something like 586,000 units. I believe was the answer there. So 568,000 or 568,000 units. That was the number there. That was their sales number, and it was up 50%. Okay? So, hey, if you didn't get that, it's not the end of the world, but you definitely want to try to get as many of these as possible. This was a little bit of a difficult question. Sometimes students think, oh, it's a table, it'll be real easy, but they can get pretty tricky. The conversion purchase rate, it's not given for the current year, but it's up from the previous year. How much? Anybody for number 13? Arcana, I think you're answering this one here. Good job. Jiao, yeah, very good. 50. You don't have to write percent because percent is given, so just 50. Okay? If you didn't catch it, guess. Okay? 50 is a good number to guess for percentages, up by half. All right, the complaint rate from the current year is 1.5%, and it's down. How many percent is it down? So what's the answer for number 14? This was probably the trickiest one. It's not 2.5. It's not 0.5. You had to do a little bit of math here, hint, hint. So they said that current year is 1.5%. Last year was 2.5%. So there you go, Jeffrey. And they give the percent there, so you don't, there you go, Onkar. Yeah, there now comes all the good ones. It's 1. Just simply 1. They gave you the percent. So the answers here were 586,000, 50, and 1. Okay? That was a little bit difficult on the difficult side, but such is life. And we always try to show students the actual difficulty of IELTS. There are materials. Be very careful, girls and guys. There's a lot of materials, especially free materials online for IELTS that are made by who knows who. And they don't actually reflect the true difficulty of IELTS. So be very, very cautious about that. Some of the practice materials online and in bookstores are more easier than the true IELTS exam. So careful not to be deceived, okay? And I'm sure that some of you who have taken IELTS before know this. So some of you that have taken IELTS before know that, hey, yeah, real IELTS can be this tricky. Okay, this one here, it's black. Sorry about that. It says maximizing the value of the investors in investment. We'll get there in a second. So number 15, multiple choice. What point do the investors disagree on? Is it A, ways to increase conversion, B, how to convince investors to increase funding, or C, getting the complaint rate as low as possible? They repeated this answer 2 or 3 different times. So you should have gotten it. And it looks like most of you did. Yeah, it was C, getting the complaint rate as low as possible. The gentleman spoke very clearly about that. So hopefully you were able to catch that. All right. So this one, you just put C into the blank. All right, number 16. What is of primary importance according to the employees? Is it increasing the funding of their company to hire new people? Is it convincing the company to increase downloads and raise the conversion rate, or whatever A is? Is it B or C or whatever A is that you can't quite see clearly? It's kind of a, there's a logic to my madness here, girls and guys. I love Nimco's answer. It's S, way down there in the alphabet. UK Sexy says, hey, why not just circle all 3 of them? That'll definitely get it right and wrong at the same time. Well, they didn't talk about increasing the funding of their the company at this point yet, so that can't be the answer. And they didn't really emphasize this as the most important. So it has to be whatever A is. So here, logic, or knowing by deduction that B and C are wrong, you should guess that, hey, it's probably one I can't even see. This one is maximizing the value of the investor's investment, and that's the correct answer, maximizing the value of the investor's investment. So even if you said, hey, I can't see A, you should have been able to figure out that A is the correct answer because these 2 are wrong answers. Okay? So that was kind of a tricky one there. I threw that one at you, blacking out that answer, but I wanted you to realize that there's another way to approach those multiple choice questions, girls and guys. All right? Okay, let's have a look at this last portion here. It's a summary completion, 17 to 20. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each one. The employees are requesting a 20% what? Keep it simple. You can probably guess these. Okay? Sonu says it's an increase. Yeah, now this is mid-sentence, so please don't write capitals unless it's all capitals. So you should just write increase like that. Girls and guys, please know how to spell increase, decrease, especially if you're doing academic IELTS, because if you get a line graph for your task 1 and you don't know how to spell increase, you're not just losing this mark, but I promise you're going to be losing more marks in your task 1. So make sure that you know how to spell increase and decrease, okay? Those are important words. Baljit, you cannot write incline because incline does not make sense in this context. Okay, it has to be increase. This will allow the company to hire 2 additional what? Number 18. Yes, Onkar, you can write all capital words. Just make sure your spelling is good because it's more difficult that way. Developers, Arcana, excellent. Bugatti, very good. Rawan, spelling, definitely you'll lose it. Lytton, you'll lose it on spelling there as well. You got to have the S, okay? So it's plural because there's 2 of them. So it has to be developers with an S. No S, no points. Misspelled, no points, okay? So be very careful with that. Okay, who will allow the company to broaden their catalog of apps? That there should have told you that, hey, this is an app company. They're dealing with software and they're into the IT industry. They would also like to hire something, and it's 1, so it's singular here. Not a marketer, Bugatti. You won't get it for that because that's not the right, not a market expert, not a marketer. That's right, Rawan. All small letters, Rawan, not capital. It's mid-sentence, so small m, okay? Market analyst, not with an S, Rawan. Not with an S, not with a big M. So just simply market analyst. Okay, just like that. Market analyst, 2-word answer. When you see no more than 2 words and or a number, it's a very, very good chance that one of these girls and guys will be a 2-word answer. You need a market analyst here. It's a specific position. A marketer is not the same as a market analyst, okay? A market expert is not necessarily the same as a market analyst as well. So who would be in charge of finding new areas for development? Finally, the team wants a pay raise pegged to the rate of, said it a couple times, hopefully you got number 20, 2%, they might give it to you for 2% because they did say around 2%, but it was more of a word. Yeah, pegged to the rate of, because it's the rate of 2% doesn't make sense. Okay, the rate of inflation makes sense, as Preeti Sinha just told us. Okay, again, the rate of 2%, I don't think they'll give it to you. It just doesn't make sense to put a number. Rate of inflation, that makes sense. So at the speed of inflation, the rate of inflation, okay? So inflation's going to be the correct word there. Inflation, yeah, absolutely. With an exclamation, Jeffrey. Okay, girls and guys, so add up your marks, write it down, make sure you put it on a piece of paper that's safe where you'll remember, or put it into your phone or something like that. Tomorrow, I'm going to do listening section 3, section 4 with you, okay? And then you'll have a chance to add up all your marks after tomorrow and figure out the total band score that you could expect for this level of difficulty. Any questions about listening section 1 and 2 before I wrap it up here, girls and guys? Any questions about the listening section in IELTS, about specifically section 1 and 2? Something that you think I might be able to give you some help or advice in? Okay. Preeti, 6 out of 10 in section 1 is not very good. Sonu, 9 out of 20. That's you're going to be in trouble. Going to be a fairly low score. Yeah, Lytton, it's possible that this was a little bit more difficult than a couple of the previous exams, but That does happen. So 13 out of 20 is not terrible. Gary, definitely look at the context. So if it says we need to hire 2, then you know it's plural. If they say we need to hire a, then you know it's singular. Arcana, 15 out of 20 is not bad. If you keep going like that for section 3 and 4, you should be okay to bring home a 7, 7.5. To get an 8, you have to get well into the 30s, pro-bins. There's a score calculator on the bottom of our website. So if you girls and guys visit our website, it's very bright here, I know, but at the very bottom of the website here in these small links, there is a score calculator. I think many of you have seen that before, that follow the classes regularly. So you can always check what is what there. So if you, for example, got a raw score of, just make sure it's on the listening because it's also there for the reading. By the way, it's different for academic reading than for general reading, so make sure you use the correct score calculator. Let's say you got a score of 35, that would be an 8, okay? So you got to get quite high for the 8, 8.59. Yeah, you can use all capital letters, Amrit Paul, in the summary. You can use all capital letters in the listening and in the reading section, okay? Vegan says, just join the full course, guys. Come on. If you want to get good scores, it's worth a few dollars. It's true. Everybody who joins our full course and actually takes the time to go through and practice those strategies, they always come back to us with some very positive words and usually a very nice high IELTS band score. So yes, Jeffrey, thank you for your promotion, but I have to say that you're definitely saying the right ideas to help your fellow students. Okay, girls and guys. Again, do join us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS, gltshelp.com for general IELTS. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, don't be shy. Send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I'll help you out. Thank you so much, girls and guys, for watching. Have an awesome rest of your evening. I wish you beautiful, wonderful dreams throughout the night if it's very late in your country. And hopefully you'll wake up fresh in the morning, ready for another wonderful day. Much love to everybody. Watch us again tomorrow, same time, section 3, section 4, and then we'll go from there. Peace out.